guys. All right, drawing 1, 2. We're going to start the color wheel cube today. So the first thing that you're going to do, you're going to use colored pencils just kind of as, maybe as an introduction if you've forgotten, or as a reminder. You're going to do a sheet, colored pencils only, on different color families. So this is Vincent van Gogh's chair. It's a line drawing of a painting he did. And it's divided into 6 sections. You probably saw this in Intro to Art. You're going to color this section primary colors, this one with secondary colors, this one with an analogous color scheme, this one with a monochromatic color scheme, this one with one complementary color pair, and this one with either warm or cool colors. We're not doing the tertiary colors for this because I don't have the colored pencils for it. However, when you actually get to the box where this student forgot theirs, this student did remember theirs, you will be doing tertiary colors. So let's real quick go through. So if you look at the color wheel, remember complementary colors, yellow, red, blue, okay? Secondary colors, orange, green, violet, they kind of form triangles, they're colored triads. A monochromatic is one color, light to dark. So up here you can kind of see the one color. So like the blue on this one, they use blue all the way to the white of the blue to the very navy of the blue. Adding white to make it light, adding black to make it dark. Analogous colors are shoulder partners. Colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So yellow, yellow, green, green. They're our shoulder partners in any direction. You could do violet, blue. You could do violet, red. Any 3 colors that are next to each other. One complementary color pair. Remember complementary colors. Yellow and violet is a complementary color pair. They're across from each other on the color wheel. Red, green, complementary color pair. Orange, blue, complementary color pair. You could even do tertiary colors if you find them across from each other. Yellow, green, complementary color pair is red, violet. Okay, so you take a color wheel, but they are directly across from each other. They are a complementary color pair. If you remember the main 3, yellow and violet, think of like springtime or the Lakers. Not a fan of the Lakers, but I know what colors they are. Red and green, we just came off of December, so finally red and green are going to be going away. But actually it's getting earlier now. Every December, red and green is everywhere. Whether you celebrate Christmas or not, I don't care. But you know that if you go into any shopping store during December, you're going to see red and green. So you know that's a complementary color pair. And then orange and blue, Chicago Bears. Yes, you should all be fans of Chicago Bears. I'm going to just assume that you are. Okay, and then tertiary colors. Those are the colors, the little colors made up of a primary and a secondary color. So yellow and orange make yellow-orange. Orange and red make red-orange. Red and violet make red-violet. Okay, so they're made up of the 2 colors. So that's what color you're going to be using. So you're going to color in this sheet. Here it says warm or cool colors. Warm colors, reds, oranges, and yellows. Cool colors, greens, blues, and violets. This is just to kind of get us used to it because this is what you're going to be doing on your design. And then everything on the back, you're going to write down everything you know about color, just to kind of trigger those memories so we can use them for this project. Now, to start the project, let's look at the project plan sheet, or the grading rubric. It says, my job for this project is to learn about color, the creation of colors, color mixing. You're going to be using acrylic paint, color values, and color families. By the end of the project, I will have created a stable, meaning it doesn't fall over. It is stable. It can stand up all on its own. 3D, so it's not flat. It actually takes up space. A stable 3D color wheel cube using acrylic paint to create the different color families, schemes, and values. So, you're going to need a lot of supplies progressively through this. In the vocabulary, you will see what each color means, how it's made, the examples of them. So if you're like, what is a tertiary color again? It tells you right here, and it lists what the tertiary colors are so that you remember. Okay, so I gave you all of that information. Helpful hints. Each side of the cube needs its own color scheme or color family. And we're going to talk about that. You can kind of see this one, how each one has its own scheme. Now, this student kind of messed up here. They forgot the tertiary colors, and they did 2 analogous colors, although this could also be considered cool colors. You know, they kind of forgot the one that they're supposed to do, but ultimately they got the color schemes. Each side has its own color scheme. It says, be creative and inventive with the design. Your design must have areas that overlap, so they cross over each other. So you have this where you're using one color, you're using another color, and then somehow in the middle they make a third color. Each side of the cube must have the same design. So you're only coming up with one design, like this one is the horse head with kind of designs in the background. Same design used over and over again. So you can see how color schemes affect the look of a design. Because each time you change the color, even though it's the same design, when you change the color scheme, it changes the look of that design. And then again, make sure that your color cube is stable and can stand up all on its own. So the first step is the practice that we already talked about. Step 2, create one design that you are going to transfer onto all 6 sections of the cube. The design must be made up of shapes that overlap each other with the carbon paper that you're going to trace. I did get carbon paper. It says here if it's not available, but it is available because I got it for you. So what you're going to do, you're going to use your design plan sheet. This is 6 inches by 6 inches. It's a square. In here you're going to come up with your designs. If you look kind of at the examples, I mean they can be just patterns, like this is nothing but a box, inside a box, inside a box, inside a big box, and then they did arrows and lines, okay? Here we have circles and triangles and squares and little dots. It can be simple. You don't have to make this really complicated. Here we have Hot Stuff. You guys should all recognize Hot Stuff, our mascot, with the background, okay? So kind of cool. This one got a little bit more complicated, still works perfect. We got the 2 people holding hands and all the little hearts surrounding them. But notice how the different colors kind of give it a different look. You know, it just affects the design somewhat differently. Oops. So, the design. This one they did a skull. So, it's really kind of open of whatever design it is that you want to do. But on the planning sheet, you're going to come up with your design. Okay? So let's say on my planning sheet, I'm going to do circles and triangles. I'll do another circle here and a rectangle here. Just something, okay? And I come up with my design. Now, what you're going to do, I created a stencil for you guys. So you're going to trace, now I have one stencil, so you'll trace and pass it on right away. So while some people are designing theirs, you're going to be tracing, and then you'll go back to designing. Some people will be designing theirs and finish designing and then trace. Ultimately, you're going to take my stencil, you're going to trace it and pass it on so that everyone will have this traced. Each section is 6 inches. You're going to get a big paper, nice and thick paper like this. You're going to take the stencil and you're going to trace it. Okay. Now you will need your ruler because you can't really, I mean, you can probably mark if you want to, like where, 6 inches is, kind of thing. But you kind of want to make sure, oh, I forgot a side. Okay, so now I have my basic layout. I can take my ruler and just make sure I know where my 6 inches is. So here, so going across here, that's 1 cube. This one's kind of easy because they match up. Here's 1 cube. Here's 1 cube. Now this one I'm going to measure using the 0. Here's my 6 on this side using my 0. Here's my 6. Oh, and I need to draw this line here. So now I have all my cubes, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer it onto there. Now, the shiny part, this shiny side, is the side that actually touches your paper. This matte side that's all, no design, it's kind of flat, that's what's going to touch your actual, the stencil part so that it can transfer it. Let me grab scissors, I forgot scissors. So, I'm going to cut out my square. Okay, and now I'm going to line it up. I'm going to have the carbon side down. I'm going to line it up here. I'm going to line up my design there. And I'm going to trace. I'm tracing over my design. It kind of moved, so I need to get it lined up again. Okay. And now my design is there. Okay. Then all I do, I line this up again, kind of against one corner of my square. I line this up against that same corner of that square, and I just trace it again. And you're going to do this for each and every square. So hold on. I'm only going to do 2 because I don't want to take up a bunch of our time, but I just kind of wanted you to see how it works. Okay, so that's how you transfer, and you'll transfer it to every single square. Then what you need to decide, we're going to go back. Step 3, color schemes. Each section is to be done in a different component. One of them needs to be primary, another one secondary, a third one tertiary, one monochromatic color scheme, a complementary color scheme, an analogous color scheme. You might want to label it, so maybe I would do primary, label it so I remember. This one will be secondary. Maybe in here, that I'll be tertiary. Here I might do monochromatic. Here I could do analogous. And here I could do complementary. Okay, so I know, okay, I got all 6 color schemes. Now I need to decide colors. Primary, secondary, tertiary, those colors are decided for you. You know, primary, red, or red, blue, and green. Or red, blue, and yellow. Do not mix them. Each section is its own color because we don't want yellow and blue mixing and making green because that's not a primary color. Only primary colors are in here. So each section gets its own color. If there's overlap, like right here, if this is yellow and this is blue, then this little section in here needs to be red. Okay, so everything in here is pure color. Secondary colors, the same thing. Use orange, violet, and green only. Don't mix them at all. So each section gets its own. Tertiary colors, those are the 6, yellow, orange, red, violet, blue, green, and yellow, green. And again, you're not mixing those. Each little section gets its own color. Monochromatic, one color, adding white to it to make it lighter, adding black to it to make it darker. Analogous colors. You might want to plan out ahead and say, well, I really like violets, so maybe I'm going to use red violet, violet, and blue violet. And those are going to be my analogous colors. So that when you go to do it, you already have an idea of what it is that you're going to do. Complementary, Bears fan, I'm going to do blue and orange. So now I know what colors I'm using for all of these. I already have it planned out so that I can actually start painting, which is step 4, painting. Paint each section based on the section's planned color scheme. Again, when using primary colors section, do not mix the colors, only use the pure hues so that, again, you only have primary colors in the primary section. And then there's kind of a little design to kind of reiterate that. And then we'll get to the assembly, so give me a second. So, paints. You have primary and secondary colors available to you, white and black. You'll probably find a mixing tray or grab a plain mixing tray and you can mix them up and you'll paint each section, okay? So when you're done, you'll have this and you can cut it out. Once this is all painted, don't cut it out until after it's painted, because what'll happen is that it'll start to curl up. If you cut this out and you have paint here, it's going to curl, and you don't want that to happen. So leave it as is until you're all done painting. Then you can cut it out and start to assemble it. In order to assemble, I'm going to take this one down and kind of do a quick little example. You're going to use the hot glue gun and hot glue. I only have so many hot glue guns and so many outlets, so you might have to wait. You have to share, that kind of thing. And you do have to let it heat up. So we will actually go to the assembly part in the next video, but hopefully at this point you kind of have a good idea. You create your plan of your design, you transfer the plan to each and every square, you figure out where you want your color schemes. I would actually write it out like how I wrote it out on here, and then you're going to be ready to assemble it, and that'll be in the next video. I also have a handout that you guys will get that kind of shows you how it's flat, how it's created to begin with, how it's flat once it's done, and then what it looks like as a square. Okay? All right, we'll be right back.